Welcome to the Howl, where we get to go in depth with students, hear their stories, and you get a front row seat to learn about our community. I'm your host, Jacob Gurton, the Associate Director of Admissions here at Rectory, and today we're going to sit down with a very special student whose journey I have been lucky enough to be a part of. Ethan is the class president and one of my proctors on dorm. He will share what it means to be a Rectory student and how to get the most out of the opportunities Rectory provides. Without further ado, let's howl! All right, good morning, Ethan. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good.
Nervous?
Yeah, very nervous. It's my first time doing a podcast.
It's okay to be nervous. This is just a fun time that we get to hang out and learn about your experience here. So, as a leader of our school, I tapped you, and I'm lucky enough to get a lot of time with you. You're my proctor on my dorm. I've met you from the beginning. I was your basketball coach last year, so there's a lot of stuff that we can go over today.
Yeah.
But, first, let's just kind of learn a little bit more about who you are. Why don't you just tell us some basic background information about you, your family, and where you're from?
So I'm Ethan, and this is my second year at Rectory. I'm currently a 9th grade boarder here. I originally come from China, Hangzhou. It's a little serene town that is situated about 150 to 200 kilometers west of Shanghai. I grew up there since I was 2, and I spent basically most of my childhood time in Hangzhou, and until I came to America last year to come to study abroad to the United States in Rectory School.
Yeah. And what's Hangzhou like? Does it have the all 4 seasons and the nice fall weathers that we have, the cold, the hot? What's it like?
Oh, they don't really have that much of an extreme compared to in the weather here in New England, Connecticut. But you do receive a lot of hot summers in July and in August. Sometimes it reaches like 100-something degrees in the afternoon.
All right.
So yeah,
all right.
It's scorching hot sometimes.
Okay. Very interesting. Well, now I definitely get a little bit of different experience, especially during the winters. But how about what was school like back in Hangzhou?
So I attended an international school in Hangzhou. It's called Basis International School Hangzhou. And I studied there since the school was built in Hangzhou, but the whole system wasn't founded back in 2018. It's the time where I was enrolled to that school as a 4th grader, and I spent most of my I spent my 4th grade to my 7th grade year there, and the experience, the educational experience is definitely really different compared to what I had received in Rectory. In the previous school back in China, I believe that they really focus hard on academics. It's really academic rigorous. Like you would take AP classes in 9th grade and 10th grade, and everything's just going to be very advanced. And in your 6th grade year, you'll be taking chemistry, physics, and biology in all 3 separate courses. And the academic there is just rigorous comparatively. And however, it doesn't really focus on much of athletics and also student wellness or sort of getting a well-rounded education to the students. So I think that's like a really big difference between Rectory and the school that I attended from China. Yeah, no, I'm excited to get into some of those details, especially as we start to talk about this year and some of your specific experiences. But why don't you tell us what first drew you into Rectory? Why did you even consider boarding or Rectory in the first place? So it was actually kind of like a last-minute decision to come into Rectory because my family and me, we are originally planning to apply out to America for high school instead of junior boarding schools. But it turns out that in my 7th grade year, a lot of the really super good teachers are moving out from Basis back to their home country. Due to pandemic, they haven't been seeing their family for a long period of time, and they have to go back. But COVID policies are restricting them to come back to China again. So that causes a lot of outflow of faculty outside the school. So I was figuring out that I'm not getting the right education that I always really wanted, and that didn't even start to get that rigorous in terms of academics in the first couple of months in my 7th grade year. So that's why I decided that to move out earlier. So I remember it was a Friday night when I just came back from school, and I just called my mom and say, I want to go to the United States right now. And then she was shocked when I made that decision. And my family members they were reluctant to send me to the United States in the first couple of days when I brought up the idea, because back then I was too young when they think that I have to go out to a foreign country, a foreign environment to have education in such a young age. So especially like my elderlies in my family, they have been really reluctant to do that. But eventually I persuaded them. I just kept saying that I'm eventually gonna have to adapt into a new environment, and why not start it earlier. So yeah, I just kind of fill out the application like near the end, and luckily I got in. And I think that my family and
I wouldn't
me.
call it lucky, Ethan. You're such a great kid, so don't sell yourself short. But what during your first year? At what point was your family like, yes, this was the right decision, or did they, did it take them a while? Was it hard?
Actually, it was actually vice versa. Actually, in the real estate. When I first came to Rectory, I was the one who was really scared of everything, because it was the environment here in the first couple of days for me is a little bit overwhelming, because I have to get used to every single new stuff in this community. I have to learn everything about it. I have to learn about the different policies around dorm. I have to know what dress code is. It kind of get in my head for a long period of time in the first couple of weeks, and it's a little bit hard to adjust in the first couple of days. But every night when I get my phone and I talk to my parents, they've been always supporting me in their home, just telling me it's gonna be all fine and you're not gonna regret your decision. And it actually and as I move towards the end of the school year, the feeling of sort of Rectory as my second home, it started to get stronger and stronger and stronger as I get to know this community much more, and that it's a really sort of it's a really bonding relationship between you and the dorm faculty, and as well as the peers that you live with. So it's a really nice experience.
Yeah. You mentioned talking about how supportive your parents were, being able to call them every night, and at boarding school you think your parents are here and they're absent, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Your parents' support is like the number one thing when it comes to boarding school. So do you want to give us maybe a few highlights, or maybe any major challenges, like any significant moments in your first year besides that adjustment period? Anything that really lasted and made an impact on you, whether good or bad, in that first year?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with so it's kind of like a struggle that I had in the beginning of the year. It's a new experience for me to study abroad in a boarding school, and especially living in the school, which is definitely different compared to what I had back in China, where the school that I attended was a fully day school, where we have, I think, 2,000 kids in one school. That is about a tenth of the size of Rectory. It's definitely a different experience, and I must admit that I struggled in the first couple of weeks, and I remember that I broke some of the rules in the first couple of weeks. Like, I remember that I got dress coded in the first couple of weeks because I wasn't wearing the right second layer, and it was Mr. Ames, and he talked to me about how this jacket is not supposed to be a second layer, and it's supposed to be an outdoor jacket. So it made me search on Google the other night on the difference between like semi-formal casual dress, smart casual, and all that different types of dress codes that I can apply to Rectory school. But it is definitely I struggled a little bit, and as well as sort of like the importance of learning like the importance of the rules and in Rectory, because I remember that I was really eager to improve my cross country time in the first couple of weeks, and especially also in near the end of the season last year fall. So I did something really really wrong in the first couple of weeks where I broke out the window early in the morning with two couple of my friends to go out for a run around campus, and unfortunately, or would I say fortunately, at the same time, we got caught by Mr. Williams, who has been eating breakfast with the board of trustees. So imagine them sitting right here and we breaking out the window from here. They could literally just see us doing the action
Through
where
his
we,
sunroom,
through his sunroom. So I thought, oh, we're definitely screwed, but it turned out that Mr. Williams, he actually he didn't get that mad at us. He instead like talked to us about the importance of following the rules and how we need to change after committing this sort of mistake. So I would say that this kind of mistake also reflectively made me learn about the importance of following rules and how this gives a really grave impact to the whole community, and sort of it also ties up into the ninth grade year, where I believe that Mr. Williams and Mr. Campbell said that early in the year that the ninth graders are gonna be leading the sort of the gist of the school this year, and it's really important to set up the right examples. So yeah, it's
That's such a great story, and I love that you understand. Mr. Williams uses it as an opportunity to just kind of give you the bigger picture, and like I can tell you grasp that, which is
definitely
kind of the goal, right? That's
yeah.
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, then let's transition into this year. We're a couple months in, just starting November at the time of this recording. And how have you felt about the school year so far off the start?
It's actually I think the first impression for us, definitely it's a really busy start of the school year, because as a ninth grade boarder here, you really have to worry about a lot of things in your ninth grade year. The school gives you a lot of leadership opportunities to sort of give back to the community. You have student council, you have dorm proctors, you even have package proctors. You can be a waiter on sit down dinners, usually happening around Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And there's just a lot of stuff that you can really contribute into this community. And it's you like we as ninth grade this year, we really take the advantage of this. And other than leadership opportunities, you really have to think of where you're going after Rectory. So I would say that secondary school application process is a really big thing that happens around your ninth grade year, especially probably from fall to winter, because that's when you really have to get your application processes done, and with all your information, your transcripts, your recommendation letters. And I would say that we have a really good program that really supports you to guide you through the secondary school application process. So we have Mr. Richards as sort of like the advisor to us, where he would advise us and guide us to some of the schools that might fit us, and just sort of introduce us to the process, because it's kind of like a new thing to us.
I'm tired just hearing all the stuff you have to do. Being a student, that must be a lot of responsibilities, but you've managed well so far. Now, thinking back, is there a ninth grader, when you were an eighth grader, that you kind of model yourself after, or are there any ninth graders that stick out in your mind that made it really, pave the path for you?
Yeah, definitely. I would say there's two really big ninth graders who really impacted me and influenced me last year, who gave me advices and helped me throughout the school year. So the first one is Alex Chen, who graduated Rectory last year to go to Concord Academy. So he was a dorm proctor on DGB as well, and in weekends I would usually go to DGB and visit him and just hang out with him, because it's really fun being around with this individual, because he always brings out the positive energy to every single day, no matter what happens throughout the day. If he has if he received a bad grade, or I don't know, just have something really happening there emotionally, but he would always be optimistic, and he is always a very persistent person. He would be persistent in his passion, in his passions. For example, his passion for running. He's a cross country captain last year, and sometimes I would see him running around campus after sports, where we're all exhausted and heading back to dorm. He would always be out there and just run and give it out that all he can. And he even put up a running club last year, in which every students can join to sort of enjoy a quality afternoon to run with Alex and Mr. Anderson, who is my advisor, who's a really nice guy. And I actually got to pass down this sort of the running club this year. So at the start of the school year, I kind of also initiated the running club to sort of continue it. And I think a really big thing in a nice thing about Rectory is that you really see the relationship and sort of the bonding with the senior ninth graders and the students below, because as ninth graders who are sort of applying out to Rectory, they have a lot of memorable experiences and meaningful experience they really want to share with the seventh grade or the eighth grade kids, and it's really important for them to pass down their sort of legacies to the eighth graders or the seventh graders. And that's also kind of the reason why I really looked up to Ethan Lee, who is another individual that I really looked up to last year in my eighth grade year. Not only was he the dorm proctor on dorm, but he was also the student council vice president of our school. Last year, some of the first impressions of me to Ethan Lee was, wow, is this guy even in ninth grade? He looked like he's mastering everything that he has in Rectory. Like he's mastering and he's acing on the academics. He constantly brings up these proposals to the school and just give benefits that would benefit the boarding community. Like he brought up DoorDash. He made DoorDash possible last year, and he put up a lot of activities around campus, which really enriches the student life here. And he also kind of influenced me to sort of apply to be a dorm proctor as well as part of the student council this year as well.
Yeah, being in student council, it kind of makes it even more impressive what Ethan Lee did, because you realize now how hard it is to get stuff done sometimes, right? There's a lot of coordination, a lot of planning, and a lot of people to include and things to consider. So let's kind of wrap it up here and tie a bow on talking about Rectory as a whole and your experience and what you know from friends and others' experience. But what's a bit of advice or a recommendation that you have any other families that are thinking about Rectory or nervous about sending their son or daughter away from home, or maybe just don't really know what boarding school is about? Tell us a little bit about or recommend to them just from your experience.
Well, first of all, my first thing that I really want to say that is when you look at Rectory as a boarding school, you don't really have to define Rectory as a boarding school, because in my mind here, it's really like a second home to me, because when you actually get into the school and you spend time with the people around here, you really feel that it's a close-knit community where every people are supportive to each other, and they're just friends, sort of striking up casual conversations even from the head of school and a fifth grader. So it's and you really see this relationship every single day, and sometimes in weekends as well. We would see the students in Rectory just hanging out with the kids of the faculties that live around campus who had little babies or even pets that they bring out and just have fun with everyone, and just never be afraid to send maybe your kids to Rectory, because they won't feel lonely here. They would get the right support they needed. They would get definitely the a really good, like, well-rounded education here. The athletics is amazing here. We have awesome teams and awesome coaches. I experienced it last year with Mr. Gurin and even with Mr. Long, who went who is not here this year, as he was a really nice teacher as well and a really good coach. You get all the relationships with the coach and also with the dorm parents who just keeps on checking on with you, have to see what's up, around dorm, or how's your school life going. And you also have your advisors, which they really care about you. They will give it, the best effort they can to give you sort of the best experience you had in Rectory school, and just definitely don't hesitate to reach out to any of the alumni who in Rectory, because I think that's also a really important part of it, is to hear the experiences from the people who have graduated from Rectory a couple years ago or even decades ago.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a meaningful experience. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ethan. That's you were awesome today. You did an amazing job. Pretty impressed by the way you're able to elaborate on so many things, and I think you hit on a lot that people are really gonna take advantage from this. So, and I also appreciate the shout out as a coach. We have 1 week till basketball, less than a week, so I'm expecting big things from you this year on Varsity B.
I hope I don't break my collarbone again this year.
Yeah, I hope not either. We're hoping you're on the court for sure. Well, thank you so much. We're gonna jump into the trivia portion next. So good luck with that, and thank you for our conversation.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Here's the trivia.
All right.
So we're gonna have 5 questions. Hopefully, I only have to ask 3 of them. Okay. I'm gonna try and get 3 right.
Okay.
So you got to get more than half right to win the game. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So first question: what year did the girls' boarding program start?
2009.
I'll give you a second guess.
2007.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Great job. Okay, there you go. All right. So this is an important one. You can't get this wrong.
Okay.
But if you don't, it's okay. Who founded Rectory?
Reverend John Bigelow. Or do you call it Father Bigelow?
Yeah, Father Bigelow. Perfect. All right. Yeah, I had to get that one right.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right. Hopefully this one's a little bit harder. Those are both 2 good ones that I gave you there. So do you know what the name of the new music space that is being constructed on campus? Do you know what it's going to be? The full name.
Full name?
Mm-hmm.
It's the what rehearsal hall, but I didn't really pay attention to the names there.
That's okay. Once it's up, you'll see the name. The Brewster Odeum.
Oh, the Brewster Odeum. I see.
Yeah, it's gonna be right next to the Tong, so there'll be plenty of space to practice your music. Well, that's okay. We got 2 more questions.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure you're gonna get these ones. So, what are the names of the 2 noteworthy bells on campus?
The Victory Bell and the bell, I think, up in Memorial. And you just ring it off and...
Congratulations. You got it. You did it. You won the game. Good for you, Ethan. Well, thank you. You win today's trivia. And to close it out for each episode, I'm asking something special of all of our students. And, you have to take this very seriously. All right. Okay, this is no joke. Okay. So, our mascot is the Wolves.
Okay.
Right? And do you know the name of our podcast?
The Howl.
Yeah, the Howl.
Yeah, the Howl.
So, as the Wolves and as the Howl podcast, we're going to include our own howls at the end of each episode.
Oh.
So you see, this is no joke. We're expecting the best howl that you can come up with. So who cares if we're if there's some teachers trying to get to class and here's some kids hooting and hollering. That's us, and they're gonna know that the howl is going on, that the podcast is rolling. So to finish it out, you're gonna start. I'll give you a countdown, okay, and then you'll do the first howl, And then just like all wolves, okay, we're gonna once you howl,
All right.
I'm gonna kind of follow and chime in and be like, where my other wolves at?
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
So, are you ready?
I probably gonna break my voice.
That's okay.
All right.
All right. You're the first one. Ready?
Okay.
You good?
All right.
3, 2.
Ow!
Oh, that's a little silly. All right,
Yeah.
but it's fun. Thank you so much for your time today,
Thank
Ethan. That was
you.
great. I'm so excited to listen to this back. I'm probably going to listen to it more than once.
All right.
Have a great day, Ethan.
All right,
Thank you.
thank
I owe
you.
you some baker's dozen for this.
All right.
Great job. If you want to find out more about Rectory School, call the admissions office at 860-928-1328, or you can reach us at admissions@rectoryschool.org. Thanks for listening.